20XDX. AD, of course. Now pan up to see Mega Man on the roof. Look at that. Cup of ramen noodles, 99.99 sold out. That's how you sell a dystopian cyberpunk future. Cup of ramen noodles are $100 and they're sold out. I love this too. It's a literal fucking hole in the wall. Those are my favorite kind of bars. A fountain of spirits. So remember that time I was like, a game that's just Papers, Please, but you're a bartender? Well, someone beat me to it. Not that I was ever gonna get around to doing that. I love this. The game is best played getting comfortable. Grab some drinks and snacks and enjoy. But yeah, this is a game where you are the bartender in a cyberpunk dystopian future. Boo. I love that. Okay, so none of that mattered. It was a dream. Also, this game's gonna have a lot of fucking text. So, if you want to read, pause the video. Because I'm not gonna do that thing where you do goofy fucking voices. Okay, so here's the setup. Rent's due, gotta have $800. It's all good. And here is our apartment, and they actually did some art that shows her sleeping, and it's like from a top-down view, and it looks even cooler from that angle. I just love the whole design of the, the world. Like, it's got a very Neo-Tokyo kind of setup going for it. Would you leave? Not without you. Aww. Yeah, I gotta go to a country that allows pets. Wonderlanders. Basically anonymous in the future. And hey, look, an email scandal. Hackers found a politician's emails and is threatening to expose them. Fucking on the pulse of society, this game. And then check this out. People behind the Wonderland seem to enjoy dressing in all kinds of rabbit costumes. From Anthro to Bunny Girl, the purpose is to show the love and respect they have for Alice Rabbit. Cyborg heals. This is a Metal Gear joke, obviously. He doesn't care about the rules of nature! Cyborg heals. And it's directed by Quentin Hayter. Quentin Flynn and David Hayter. Cyborg in heels. What's not to love? It's a cyborg wearing heels cutting stuff. That's literally something we've never seen before. A niche market I'm willing to capitalize on. And also, this game has a fucking amazing soundtrack. This one's my favorite. Oh no, so, I was saying, like, this game is, like, set in fucking Neo-Tokyo or some shit. And I don't know what, like, the nationality of the developers is, but I'm pretty sure they're Western. Gillian Seed, another. I get Snatcher vibes from the whole aesthetic of this game, and that leads into what I was talking about because, like, you know how like you always have Japanese games coming out and they're set in America, and like they always have that sort of like Snatcher was a Japanese-made game set in like Neo Seattle or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was Seattle, but I'm not sure. It was very Blade Runner, you know? But then you got games made by Western developers that are all into the Japanese shit. I think like on the page for this game on Steam, it was like, oh, it's all about the white, like a bartending simulator about waifus and stuff like that. But if you just like, if you actually pay attention to like the aesthetic of the setting around you, it's got very, you know, Japanesey vibes to the urban Discord, I guess you could say. Okay, so this is the tutorial for how to make the drinks. I already know how to make the drinks, so I'm just gonna skip this. So basically the way the make the drinks works is, this actually did confuse me at first though. The one thing that confused me is the difference between mixed and blended. Let's see. Mix, blended. See here? So a sugar rush is, you gotta mix the ingredients together and mix them. Boom, that's a sugar rush. Here's the thing, I didn't get what the fuck mixed means. Mix just means you press the button and let it shake back and forth. Boom, you're done. You know, it's kind of like a bam shakalaka, boom, right? When I was first doing it though, I had no idea what the fuck mixed meant, so I was like, okay, how long do I need to let it mix for? I don't understand how long this needs to do, and it starts doing that, I'm like, okay, how do I know when to stop? I kept fucking up, I had no idea what I was doing. That's because it just going back and forth all regular is mixed. When it says blended, this is blended. So when it says mixed, you can basically go like that, just quick as can be, but with its blended, you gotta boom shaka laka 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 boom shaka laka laka, dang, we're done. That's blended. So that really fucked me up. Like, I was stuck trying to make a sugar rush for like 5 fucking minutes because I couldn't figure that out. You can also make a big version of the drink, and a big version of the drink is you just double the amount of ingredients. Because a big drink is one that exceeds 10 ingredients. So when you see that little white blip inside the white box, that's how you know it's a big drink. So sometimes they'll ask for a big drink. So those are the only things. On the rocks. Sing us a song near the piano man. Here you go. Suck my dick. Yeah, I just explained that. Oh, and this is another thing. Carmentine is the alcohol. So the more Carmentine you add, the faster they get drunk. And that can have effects on the dialogue you have with them. Because as a bartender, obviously, your job is both to mix the drinks and talk to people. Because that's what bartenders do. None of that matters. Believe in yourselves. That's my favorite. And the drunker client is, the dialogue will be different. So there's actually like a whole bunch of variations based for like what the dialogue will be based on like whether it's a small drink or a big drink, how much alcohol was in it, whether or not you gave them the correct drink. Because sometimes they'll come in and say like, I want this, make me this drink. And you'll be like, okay, make them that drink. I'll just look up that recipe. But then sometimes it'll be like, I want a sweet drink, or I want a classy drink, I want a primo big awesome drink. And you just gotta like go, okay, what type of drink, and then just kind of make your own judgment on what it should be. And if you give them something that like is technically what they want, but it's not really what they wanted, like it's what they asked for, but it's not what they wanted, the dialogue will be different. So there's a lot of different writing to it. And here's another feature: you have to pick all of the music that the jukebox will play. And there's a lot of really good music in this game. Give me a beer. And look, this is a hint. He wants a beer. He looks like quite the big guy. So that's a hint that you need to make a big beer, which means double the ingredients. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All mixed. There we go. One beer. And like, see, the first time I played this, I just gave him a regular beer, and he's like, that's not good enough, make me a big beer. And that changed the fucking dialogue from here on out. And like I said, this game's really, really, really fucking dialogue heavy. So do a lot of fucking reading. The only thing that I would say is you don't get to pick what your character says. Jill is her own character and she'll say whatever the fuck she wants. And the only difference is based on how well you made the drinks. You don't get to pick any of the dialogue that she's going to say. Just based on what I've played so far. And that's not a bad thing, there's nothing wrong with that, but part of the whole thing of being a bartender is, like, if you want to capture that experience, it just seems like that would play into it. Like, you have to... I mean, that was my idea when I was like, oh, I want to make a bartending game. Half of it's, you know, the mixing up the drinks. The other half of it's talking to people. And you can give them good or bad advice, and that will change the story of their life as they become regulars at the bar. And, like, their lives will either get better or worse based on the advice you gave them and how drunk they got while they were at your place, etc., etc. I also like the idea of, like, sliding the drink down the line into their hand. I don't know, a little mini game like that. That's just, you know, these are the ideas I've had for doing a bartending game myself, because it is a kind of an obvious idea, right? That's sort of like the first thing anyone would think of when you think about it, right? When you're having those Papers, Please, except it's this. When you have those parties, because Papers, Please fucking was really popping the fuck off. And the first thing I thought of was Papers, Please, but a bartending game. But to my knowledge, no one else has done that, even though it seems really obvious. And to be fair, I definitely wouldn't have gone with a cyberpunk theme, so they definitely one-upped my idea in that respect. A fat child with a really small face. Give me another beer. All he wants is beer. The dream is you get good enough at this game that you can make the drinks without needing to look at the recipe. Really, the fact that she has to consult the recipe every time she makes a drink actually kind of speaks to her skill as a bartender, doesn't it? It's also weird they don't just have bar on a tap, right? It's funny they have constitutional rights here. The dialogue's all really good. I've seen all this already, which is why I'm not really reading it. It doesn't make me want to play through it and, like, intentionally fuck up to see what the different dialogue would be, because obviously I try to do it good, because video games. And it's hard for me to put into words, but I just really like it reminds me of Snatcher so much, and I really like fucking Snatcher. And I just think that's like a fascinating thing, the way, like, you know, Japanese developers are kind of obsessed with America and, like, Western aesthetic to things. I mean, you see, like, Final Fantasy was a game based on, like, Dungeons and Dragons, like, Western fantasy, warriors and fucking wizards and thieves and whatnot in a medieval setting. Not like you could, but you can still tell that it was made in Japan, right? That's what I mean. Like, look at Dark Souls, for example. Like, distinctively Japanese in design, but the aesthetic, the setting, it's trying to be the, like, a kind of a Western sensibility. You can also point to games like Silent Hill, which again were made by Japanese developers that had a very Japanese sense of horror, like the way that they did the horror in those games. But it was set in fucking, like, a small American town. Not Midwestern. I'm thinking of Resident Evil. Like, I don't know where Silent Hill is supposed to be set. And, like, the fucking school that you go to was based off of the school in Kindergarten Cop. Sarcasm wastes my time, my money, and your energy. This is the cool thing. I kind of like this idea. She shuts this down, but I like this idea. Like, anonymous bartender stories like that. Yeah, it's weird, though, like, the way bartenders have that air about them in fiction, right? I've never been in a bar, so I don't know if that's reflective of reality. But the idea of, like, a bartender is someone you talk to about your troubles over the drink. And they're like someone who listens, and just from listening, they can help bring a little bit of a change to your life and help you realize something about yourself or whatever. And this game obviously acknowledges that and plays with that a little bit, because you have Joe, who's the bartender, and you're talking and meeting to all these characters and listening to their lives. Mr. Donovan. I like this guy. Boss is just a title. It's too impersonal cold. I don't know. I like calling people boss. That's a great... that's my favorite thing to call people. You got it, boss. Right? Or chef. You got it, chef. I love titles like that. Sergeant, colonel, chef, boss. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And hey, look at Resident Evil. It's a game set in the like Raccoon City is supposedly set in the Midwest, and most of Resident Evil 2 is set in like an American fucking police station, even though it is so not like what any police station on the face of the planet would actually look like. And you have Leon wearing the most retarded fucking uniform. And I just always love that kind of thing. Where it's, you know, trying to imitate a culture that you're not part of. That you're just, you know, I guess you could say like you're a fan of that culture, right? And that's what you see in this game a lot that I really appreciate. Again, I could be totally off base. I don't know what the nationality or location of the guys who made this game are, but I'm pretty sure they're at the very least like set in, like live in a Western country. Because I don't know a lot of fucking Japanese indie developers who have their shit on Steam. Like, the Japanese indie scene is weirdly backwards compared to the Western indie scene. Like, the Western indie scene has really fucking exploded in recent years, and in comparison, the Japanese indie scene is still a little bit behind the times. But, obviously, they're big fans of Japanese culture. Like, you saw the title of their fucking studio. And this game is just filled with all kinds of anime references. And it's clearly going for, like, a Neo-Tokyo kind of, setting. Like, I just really love Jill's apartment, for one thing. Like, she has a little kotatsu that she sleeps under, which you're actually not supposed to do. And it's just in the middle of her room, and she just sleeps under it, wakes up, has breakfast on top of it. It's like a tiny little one-person fucking prison cell apartment that she lives in with her cat. New customer. You know, half of the trouble with a place like this is how the fuck do you find it? Right? Oh shit. There you go. His crack house. Again, like, this is like that drink you ordered had an optional karma train, so you could add as much to that as you want and get him fucking plastered. But it's Tuesday. Shut the fuck up. Oh, this is the best. Actually read this dialogue, though. Because this guy's so fucking great. No. Yay! He likes the music. Look at her hair. Oh, she left. I know of her. She is the boss. The red comet! Oh! Why is it red? Because that makes it faster. Does she wear a mask and accidentally kill her sister? Well, she's only got one arm now, so you can rest easy. One involved Class 5 weaponry, the other one was a pickup artist, and the latest had an alpaca. Spitting on everything. A pile driver? I honestly feel like suplexing him, though. Oh, shit. There we go. When the drink has a set amount of Carmentine, that means that's how much Carmentine you use. You can't throw in as many as you want and get them super drunk. There you go. Do you see what I'm talking about? This is the best! Oh god. Okay, that's not the saying. It's, I can't tell you what the definition of porn is, but I know it when I see it. That's the expression. Oh, what a fucking dirtbag! This guy's such a dirtbag! Fringe Weaver. These names are great, by the way. I love this one. Brandini. 8 out of 10 smug assholes would recommend it, but they're too busy being smug assholes. Oh wait, Fringe Weaver. And Frothy Water. I love this. PG-rated show's favorite beer air chat since 2040. Look at this. Frothy Water. And it has no alcohol in it. Isn't that the best? Frothy Water. I love it. Okay, that probably comes out of my paycheck. I shouldn't have done that. I just wasted a whole bunch of ingredients. Except to me. You ever felt empty? This guy sounds like an asshole, but he's the best. He's my kind of asshole. Exorcising. I almost wish you'd said that. Sounds a lot cheaper than the alternative. Bitches and alcohol! I tried sex tourism once. It was like a bloody Russian roulette of STDs. Burned through my Christmas bonus hiring women for an orgy. Also hired a girl to act like my daughter for a day for 3 years in a row. I hope it was the same girl each time. You can't fuck puppies. At least you shouldn't. Oh my god, this guy's the best. Dun dun dun. She said eh. Fucking weeaboo. Don't count on it. Good. Jill is very professional though. And then this is the best part. Look at this Windows 95 ass shit. Okay, I'm not gonna save because I'm just doing this for the video. It's now safe to turn off the computer. Do you remember that? Do you remember Windows fucking 95? Do you remember AOL 95? Ah, good times. Yeah, whatever. I like the music. Look at this robot! Yeah! And look on the TV, $60 ramen. Cup of ramen. Fuck you! Although I do think it's funny that, like, it's dollars, but they're playing it like it's supposed to be yen. Or maybe it's just that, like, in the dystopian future, inflation has gone crazy or something like that. Okay, so this is like your first real customer, because she's not asking for a specific drink. She's asking for just give me a drink like this. So she wants small, sweet, and icy. So here we got the Moonblast, which is technically a small drink, because it does not exceed 10 ingredients. It's on the rocks, so it's icy, and it's a sweet drink. And we gotta blend it, so there we go. There you go, see? You got her exactly what she needed. And then she's a lightweight, so adding a bunch of booze to her drinks will really change the dialogue. Anyway, I just think it's cool that we have that kind of, you know, cultural crossover, especially in video games. Where, you know, for a lot of people who grew up in the 80s and 90s, Japanese games really were kind of the, especially since all the systems were made in Japan at the time, they were kind of the dominant influence, you could say, for a lot of people growing up on console games. Whereas the PC market was definitely predominantly Western. So even back then, we had that dichotomy. And it always kind of, you know, wanes and rises as the years go by. Some, like, every half decade, it feels like the ratio skews one way or the other. But it just makes me really happy that we have, you know, where we're at right now. We have indie games like this being made by very small teams. If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure this was made by 2 people. I'm not 100% sure. The page for their studio says it was founded by 2 people. I don't know how many people work there now. Okay, so according to their itch.io page here, we are a game development team currently based in Venezuela. And according to their website, sukiban.moe, because of course, game developers based in Venezuela, born as a blog discussing Japanese pop culture. The name means delinquent girl or delinquent boss girl, which is pretty cool. We love the concept and feel connected to its rebellious nature. They tried making this big game, but it was obviously too ambitious for our skills at the time. Not too much after that, we decided to make smaller games for game jams, and that's how we started Valhalla, a much simple undertaking that actually managed to be more popular. The team is 3 fucking dudes. Christopher, Fernando, and Junji. So, fucking cool beans. I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on these guys from now on. But anyway, like, just the golden age of indie games. Give or take some click bullshit that may or may not be related to certain, social movements. Regardless, this really is the era where, like, one dude can just, like, put his nose to the grindstone and make a game that fucking captures the imagination of the people. Like, Cave Story, Papers, Please, Undertale. Games that were literally made by a single individual. Classy. What did I give her last time? I always try to not overload her with alcohol. I think this is what I made for her last time, so let's try something else. Too much alcohol. I feel like that's still too much alcohol. Let's try a Brantini. Because I don't want to get her fucking wasted because she's a cop, right? And that's something cool that I know this game does get into is Jill sitting here and listening to people tell their tell them their life troubles, and she's the bartender, so she tries to help them out. You know, sometimes all you need is someone who'll listen and someone to bounce your issues off of, right? But she has her own problems too. That's what the entire setup at the beginning was. Her rent's due, the bar is gonna close, she's out of money because she just got her cat fucking fixed. She's dealing with turbulence in her own life, and yet she has to be this pillar for a lot of other people, all of her clients who are coming in who want a drink and someone to talk to. And that's a cool little angle that this game goes into. Where it's it's a two-way street, but a lot of people don't, due to the nature of her position, a lot of people don't necessarily view her as a person. You know? They just kind of look at her like a drink dispenser that they can have a conversation with. Even the nice ones, even the people who aren't douchebags, like the last guy we had, it reminds me of this write-up I saw once where a guy growing up, his dad would sort through the broken glass in the garbage because he was worried for the trash garbage dudes who come to collect their garbage. He didn't want them to cut themselves collecting the garbage. And he's like, how many people even think of the people who collect your garbage as human beings? Right? You don't think about it. Even to the point of basic consideration. When you get someone and they give you kind of poor service, you don't stop and think oh, maybe they're having a bad day. Oh, this is great. No, I'm pretty sure it's a martini. Fuck you! That's the best. Anyway. 8 out of 10 smug assholes, that's my favorite. No! Fuck! This takes skill, okay? This isn't a visual novel. It's a motherfucking bartending game. Suck my dick. I hate when people call something a visual novel just because it has an anime portrait and a lot of dialogue. There's gameplay, therefore it is not a fucking visual novel. A visual novel is a novel which is a non-interactive story. I know the kind of place I work in. I like that line. Oh, I forgot. She said, I'm more like a paramedic. Man, I wanted to pay attention to that, but go back and look at her dialogue. She's she helps people in need or whatever, and she's like a doctor, and she's like, no, I'm more like a paramedic. Okay, I don't really care about this character. Shit, what was I saying? Not a visual novel. Shut up. If a game has gameplay, it's not a visual novel. A novel is a non-interactive story with visual components. You're still reading a book, but there's visuals to it. At minimum, at the absolute maximum, you can maybe pick dialogue or say I'm going to go to this location and that might change the story. Like Hatchaful Boyfriend, the pigeon dating simulator, that's a visual novel. There's literally no gameplay aside from picking things on a menu. Like, boom, there's your gameplay. Boom, there's your gameplay. No, it's a novel. This has gameplay. Calm her down. How about a Zen star? Also, I love this. A fedora with a plum. That's a fucking, reference to The Simpsons, by the way. I want, what was it? I want a hat filled with perfume with a plum floating in it. I forget. That was so funny. 4 of each ingredient. On the rocks and mixed. I don't know if this is the correct drink, but it says Zen, and we need to calm her down, so it seems like the right choice to me. If a game has gameplay to any degree, it's a game, not a novel. This game is not a novel, you mix drinks. It's game. Gameplay. There's a game. It's a video game. Danganronpa is not a visual novel, it's a video game. Shut the fuck up. I hate you people. God damn it. It's not a visual novel. Anyway. I've had so many games where I'm like, I'm not interested in that because people have described it as a visual novel. Like, people describe Danganronpa as a visual novel. And I'm like, I don't have an interest in that because I'm not into visual novels. And then I actually look up, like, gameplay footage of the gameplay in this video game, because it's a video game. And I'm like, holy shit, why didn't anyone tell me this wasn't a fucking visual novel? It's so my bag, I'm so in on that shit. It's like Phoenix Wright style courtroom drama, like Death Game shit. So I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna go play this video game with the gameplay of the game in the video game. Because it's not a fucking visual novel. I hate you people. God damn it. Anyway. I just think it's really cool that we're in this era of true auteurism when it comes to indie games. Because I love games where you can really feel like the heart and soul of the guys who made it coming out in the game as you're playing it. Like, you can tell so much about the interests and inspirations of the guys who made this game just from playing it. Like, you can tell that there's, like, super fucking weeaboos, and they probably really like Hideo Kojima games. Because there's a lot of, like, it's very, like, it reminds me a lot of Snatcher. You had a Metal Gear reference earlier. It just has a lot of that aesthetic going for it. And there's a game coming out on the PS4 pretty soon. It's already out on the PC, called Read Only Romance, that I also want to get because it reminds me of Snatcher. And it's just nice to have those kind of contrasts, where you have a game developed in Japan, set in America, and it's like, brings forward all this kind of uniqueness and quirkiness, and so much in the heart and soul of the person who made that game. And then you have a game like this, made by Westerners, but with the Japanese aesthetic, but you can also, like, it brings out so much of what they enjoy, and what of themselves that they put into this game. Especially since it's so narrative heavy. And the music, by the way, you can tell a lot about what kind of a person is. I don't know, like, cause music's always a really abstract kind of thing. It's like another language. It's like a fucking alien language a little bit, right? This is a cool little tidbit. The Piano Man has an interesting story. It was originally created by a bartender in honor of a pianist friend of his that had just died. Apparently it mixes all the flavors that friend liked the most. I think that's a cute story. I don't know, I just really love playing indie games like this where the sense of music, that's what I was saying. You can really like it's sort of like a signature kind of thing for the people who can make music because like gifts from the Lord, people who can make music, because Lord knows I can't do it. But it's like it's this really personal kind of thing. You kind of can't not be who you are when you're making music. Like, I remember I took guitar lessons in high school, and every single fucking song that we did was a bluegrass song, and I really fucking hated it, but that says a lot about who my teacher was, right? About what kind of music he liked. He loved fucking bluegrass. That's what he wanted to teach us how to play. And again, I guess obviously it's fitting to the setting that it's in, right? But you still get a lot of sense of identity. Just the whole package. I'm just really fond of shit like that, where the expression is, you can see the fingerprints. You can see the fingerprints of the people who made it on the art. You know, and I really like that expression because what is more of an identifying factor than someone's fingerprints? Everyone has different fingerprints. No one on the face of the planet, not even fraternal twins. What is it? The twins that look exactly the same. Not even they have identical fingerprints. Hell, your fingerprints on each different hand have different fingerprints. I think. I had to actually look down at my own fingers. Anyway, like, people's fingerprints are, like, so indicative, like, of who they are. That's just the perfect expression. That it's got the fingerprints. I mean, even me, you can say that of, because the reason I had the idea myself of Papers, Please, but a bartending game is because my dad went to a bartending college in his youth. And growing up, well, not necessarily growing up, but like in one of our old houses that we used to live at, like, from the living room, there was kind of a wall with a cut open window kind of viewing into the kitchen, and he kind of styled it into kind of a bar looking setup, like with rows of alcohol behind glass, behind the counter. It had this really cool looking like wooden top counter. I almost feel like I want to show a picture because I'm so bad at describing like locations. That's not my strength. I'm not very good at describing locations. And he even had like a fish tank set up on one half, so you had to actually go around to the side. That's like, it's so hard to describe like the location, but like on one side was the living room, and then there was kind of a hallway leading into the rest of the house and into the kitchen. And you had to go around into that hallway, and he had bar stools set up. Like, it looked like a bar. There was even a piano. Like, we even used to have a fucking piano set up. it was so cool. And so that, you know, I grew up, I didn't necessarily grow up, but I lived years and years and years of my life and my developmental years in that house with that backdrop to my life, you know? And I guess, you know, it's hard not to say it influenced me a little bit. So even just the selection of saying a bartender action, a game where you're a bartender, probably says a lot about the guys who made it. Hey boss, do you feel like calling you boss too impersonal? Not really. It's like you call me that because I'm a stranger, it's just out of habit. And now here's our payment. I don't actually know what the math for this is. You get 30% commission, but like, do you get docked for what the cost of making the drink was? I'm not 100% sure. Poisonally. But anyway, I got a flawless service bonus because that's how I roll. And this is another gameplay feature is she'll get distracted by different things, and if you go into work while you're distracted, you won't hear what they're talking about, and you'll forget what the drink order was. And she'll be like, oh, what did they want to order? Something like this. And it might not be correct. And that will change Jill's dialogue to the various patrons. And it's just really interesting shit like that. And now we can go to a store. J.C. Elton's. Reference to Deus Ex, J.C. Denton. Nuclear Land and the font. I wonder what that's going for. Anyway. Miki, Hatsune Miku poster. A lot of fun stuff. Anyway, let's get that hollow plant. Mulan tea. And I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure buying stuff here will change. Let's do an experimental buy. Let's buy one of those posters. And see if that changes. It did! Awesome! So things you buy in the shop will change the decor of your apartment here. That's really cool. Makes me want to buy all the things. Although everything is fucking mad expensive, so you should I need $800 to pay the rent. Cutesy game poster and Alex figure. I'm not saving, so might as well just... Right there, and look, got a little cutesy game poster right there. Awesome, I like it. And then every day new apps get added for you to check in the morning. This is like Danger U. It's a board, it's 4chan, Dangerous Opinions. Danger U, Dangerous Opinions. It's Poll. You're browsing Poll. And it's a board thread. Pretty realistic. When you think about it. Fucking normies, get out! Also, I like how she talks to her cat. But anyway, and then you gotta check the news every morning. Anyway, so that's the basic gist of this game. Cyberpunk Bartending Action. Someone made the game that I thought should be made, and I thank you for it. And I thank you guys for watching.